Blessed are the poor in spirit, Jesus begins, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. These words, spoken on a hillside overlooking the Sea of Galilee, have resonated through centuries, offering comfort and challenge in equal measure. They are not just words of consolation, but a call to a deeper understanding of what it means to be truly blessed. This sermon, known as the Sermon on the Mount, contains within it a passage known as the Beatitudes, a roadmap to a life transformed by faith. The Beatitudes are a series of declarations that turn conventional wisdom on its head, revealing the heart of Jesus' message. We often think of blessings as rewards for good behavior, for following the rules. We associate blessings with success, happiness, and material wealth. But Jesus turns this expectation on its head. He challenges us to see blessings in a new light, to understand that true blessings are not always visible or tangible. He speaks of those who are blessed not because of their outward actions, but because of their inner state. It is a state of humility, of recognizing one's own spiritual need and dependence on God. The poor in spirit, those who recognize their spiritual emptiness, are the ones who inherit the kingdom of heaven. This is a profound truth that invites us to look beyond the surface and to seek a deeper connection with the divine. This paradoxical message is echoed throughout the Beatitudes. Each statement challenges our understanding of what it means to be blessed, inviting us to embrace a life of spiritual richness. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. This statement speaks to the heart of human experience, acknowledging the pain and sorrow that we all face. How can mourning be a blessing? How can grief be a source of comfort? These questions lead us to a deeper understanding of the human condition and the ways in which we find solace and healing. It is in these seeming contradictions that we begin to glimpse the radical nature of Jesus' teachings. He invites us to see beyond our immediate circumstances and to trust in a greater plan. The Beatitudes call us to a life of faith, where we find peace not in the absence of trouble, but in the presence of God. They remind us that true comfort comes from knowing that we are not alone in our struggles. The world tells us to chase after happiness, to avoid pain and suffering at all costs. We are bombarded with messages that equate success with wealth and status. But Jesus offers a different way. He invites us to find joy in simplicity, to seek fulfillment in serving others, and to discover peace in the midst of life's challenges. He invites us into a life of humility, of compassion, of a deep longing for justice and righteousness. This is a path that leads to true and lasting peace, a peace that transcends our understanding. This path, he tells us, is the path to true and lasting peace. It is a journey that begins with recognizing our own brokenness and finding peace in the midst of it. The Beatitudes are not just a list of virtues to be cultivated. They are a profound invitation to live in a way that reflects the heart of God. They are a portrait of the kingdom of God, a vision of a world transformed by love, compassion, and justice. A glimpse into a world where God's reign is fully realized, where peace and righteousness flow like a mighty river. In this kingdom, the meek inherit the earth, not through violence or aggression, but through the quiet strength of humility. Their gentleness is their power, their patience their weapon. The merciful find mercy, not because they have earned it, but because they have shown it to others. Their compassion opens the door to grace. The pure in heart see God, not because they are sinless, but because their hearts are open to His presence. Their sincerity allows them to perceive the divine in the everyday. These blessings are not just for the future, however. They are promises for the present, guiding us in our daily lives. They are meant to be lived out here and now, in our interactions, our choices, and our communities. They are a call to action, an invitation to participate in the work of bringing God's kingdom to earth. Each act of kindness, each moment of forgiveness, each gesture of love brings us closer to that better world. The values Jesus elevates in the Beatitudes are often countercultural, even revolutionary. Humility in a world obsessed with power and status seems like weakness. Mercy, in a world that often celebrates retribution, can feel naive. And righteousness, a deep longing for justice and fairness, can be a dangerous pursuit in a world where systems of oppression are deeply entrenched. But for Jesus, these values are not optional extras. They are the very heart of what it means to follow him. Perhaps the most striking aspect of the Beatitudes is the paradoxical nature of the blessings themselves. How can mourning lead to comfort? How can persecution lead to reward? These are not the things the world tells us will bring us happiness. But Jesus is not talking about a fleeting, superficial happiness. He's talking about a deep and abiding joy that comes from knowing God and being known by him. This joy is not dependent on our circumstances. It is a gift, freely given to all who seek it. Section 5. Paradoxes of the Kingdom. The Beatitudes are full of such paradoxes. The poor in spirit are rich in the kingdom of heaven. The meek inherit the earth. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness are filled. These statements seem illogical, even absurd, from a worldly perspective. But they reveal a profound truth about the nature of God's kingdom. It is a kingdom where the first are last and the last are first, where strength is found in weakness and where true greatness lies in humility and service. Section 6. Seeing God with a pure heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, Jesus declares, for they will see God. Matthew 5, verse 8. Purity of heart is not about outward piety or legalistic rule-following. It is about an inner integrity, a singleness of purpose, a heart that is fully aligned with the will of God. Those who possess this purity, Jesus tells us, will see God. They will experience his presence in their lives in a tangible way. They will see his hand at work in the world around them. Section 7. The persecuted and the peacemakers. The final two Beatitudes bring us face to face with the cost of discipleship. They challenge us to reflect deeply on what it means to follow Jesus, not just in times of comfort, but especially in times of trial and tribulation. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5, verse 10. This powerful statement reminds us that the path of righteousness is not always smooth or easy. Following Jesus will not always be easy. It often means walking a path that is fraught with challenges and obstacles, much like a difficult mountain trail. In fact, Jesus warns us that we will face opposition, even persecution, because of our faith. This opposition can come in many forms, from societal rejection to personal attacks. But even in the midst of suffering, there is blessing. The promise of the kingdom of heaven is a source of hope and strength, sustaining us through the darkest times. For it is in our willingness to stand up for what is right, even in the face of adversity, that we truly demonstrate the depth of our commitment to Christ. This courage and conviction are what set us apart as true followers. Blessed are the peacemakers, Jesus concludes, for they will be called children of God. Matthew 5, verse 9. Peacemakers are those who actively seek to resolve conflict and bring about reconciliation. This final beatitude brings us full circle. It emphasizes the importance of peace in the kingdom of God and calls us to be agents of that peace in our world. For it is in becoming peacemakers, in embodying the values of the kingdom, that we truly become like our Father in heaven. By promoting peace and understanding, we reflect the heart of God and his desire for harmony among his children. Section 8. Embracing suffering for spiritual growth. The Beatitudes are a call to radical discipleship, an invitation to live differently in a world that is often hostile to the values of the kingdom. They challenge us to embrace humility over pride, mercy over judgment, and peacemaking over violence. They remind us that true joy is not found in the pursuit of pleasure or possessions, but in knowing God and being conformed to his image. And they assure us that even in the midst of suffering and persecution, we are not alone. For God is with us and his kingdom will prevail. Section 9. The Beatitudes, a call to radical living. The Beatitudes are not just nice sayings to be admired from a distance. They are a call to action, an invitation to embody the values of the kingdom in every aspect of our lives. They are a challenge to live differently, to love radically, and to be agents of peace and reconciliation in a broken world. As you go about your week, let the words of the Beatitudes sink into your heart. Allow them to challenge your assumptions, to reshape your desires, and to empower you to live a life that is truly blessed, a life that reflects the heart of God.